Hello guys, Bud here with Dependable Lawn Care, and I'm going to be installing the quick chute on this 2019 52-inch Ferris Z3X. So the first thing we're going to do is remove this grass flap, the factory flap, which is just the bolt that runs through, and then there's a bolt right there that acts as the stop to prop the chute up. So let's get that off of there first. The first step is to set the unit in place. It comes assembled, everything but the handle is already assembled. So we're going to set it in place and make sure that the plate is nice and tight against the top of the deck and down the front and the back. And then once that is all in place nicely, I'm going to mark the holes that we'll be drilling with a Sharpie, and then we'll pull the unit off and drill those out to a 3/8 inch hole. Okay, so with this being the 52 inch, the side bars right here, I guess they're stabilizer bars for the front. This is actually in the way of that, so I'm going to remove this real quick to make sure that I have everything lined up properly. This bracket is made to flip either direction, and so it doesn't have to be right where it's at. Those two bolts that bracket was attached with are 1/2 inch as well. Okay, much better. Now I can get it lined up properly. I'm going to start out with the small pilot bit, and then I'll use the next size up, which is just under 1/4 inch, and then I'll jump up to the 3/8, make it a little easier to drill out. I have my hardware kit. It has all my bolts and nuts and the spring. It's all in the same little packet. So I'm going to need the two 1-inch by 5/16 bolts, and I believe they have vinyl lock nuts to go on them. So that's what we're going to use to bolt this down. Be running the bolt up from the bottom. So I'm going to move my deck all the way up to give myself room to reach underneath there and do that. Okay, now it's just as important to make sure that this is tight against the deck right now when you're bolting it down as it is when you're drilling lining it up to drill the holes, because you definitely want it to be tight against the deck. Okay, so we have our bolt and washer underneath, and then washer and the lock nut, vinyl lock nut on top. Okay, now to tighten this down, again, everything is 1/2 inch. So I'm going to put a 1/2 inch box end wrench on top, my socket wrench underneath to tighten it up. I'm going to hold my knee against it to keep it in place at the same time. All right, that's bolted down nice and tight. So now, obviously I need to figure out how to get this away from here. So we're gonna have to play around with positioning a little bit. I might even have to bend this bracket because we definitely can't have it touching the mower like that. So okay guys, so what you need is a screwdriver. It doesn't have to be this long, your spring, and this piece of wire that's included. And what you're going to do is you're going to hook the spring into the piece of wire, okay, and you're going to set it up like so. First thing you're going to do is hook it on the pin down here at the bottom, and then basically you're going to use this to hook your spring on, okay? It's not very hard. And then after you're done, you just take the wire off, throw it away, and that's it. The final step is to reattach the bracket that holds the handle, and then attach the handle, adjust the angle, and once that's all set up and adjusted, we'll test it out. Okay guys, now I just have this snug down, these two bolts, so that this isn't flopping all over the place. That way I can go ahead and bolt my handle on and kind of get things adjusted before I tighten it up. Okay, so your handle has this flange on it. So you want to try to figure out the orientation of your handle, about where you want it to be at. And then you're going to run your bolts through these 4 holes. Okay, so now those are all in place. We'll have to tighten them up, of course, but that way we can kind of figure out where we want our handle to sit at. So the range of motion is basically, if this is where my handle is at, that's how far it moves to go up and to go down. So that might actually be a pretty good position, somewhere about in there for my handle. Because I want it close to my operating platform. So I think I'm going to go ahead and set it there, tighten it up, and try it. It doesn't get much easier than that. Really short range of motion for the handle, which is nice. I like the way the handle, tucks in around the machine nicely, so it's out of the way. But right here, so if you open it and then pause and then let it back down, it actually holds the chute part way open instead of all the way open or all the way closed. So right here, and you let it back down, and that sets in place, and now it's part way open. So you can go from there. You can go all the way open, all the way closed. So I really like that. Everything's out of the way of the deck, and good to go. It's ready to put to work. So that is the installation of the Quick Chute blocker by GTM Manufacturing Incorporated on a 2019 Ferris Z3X 52-inch. Thanks for watching, guys. Get out there and make some money. Catch you on the next one.